Yeah, welcome guys for this new video. In this video, we would try to learn how to read a document as far as NDT services are concerned. Because one of the crucial part for NDT level 2 is to read, understand and act accordingly as per the given document. Usually those documents are either code, either standard or specification, or sometime it could be procedure, or I would say most of the time this is the procedure what we need to deal with. What are the basic things we should have to read and understand the document? Number one, we should have the thorough understanding of the document what we are given to read and act accordingly. Once we have the glimpse of complete document, we must understand what are the headings, because most of the time heading itself can inform us what kind of information would be given in the paragraph. And if possible, we can highlight or we can highlight it so that we can remember when we are going to give the answers based on the questions asked for on these procedures. So let's start for PT level 2 examination. We are trying to read one Penetrant examination document, and this is a part of the code which is ASME, Boiler Pressure Vessel Code. The section is 5. It's a 2019 version, and we are going to read this Article 6, and Article 6 defines liquid penetrant examination. So we got an idea that what it will be talking about. It will be talking about liquid penetrants examination. Let's see what could be the paragraph. Here the nomenclature is something 1T. It's basically just a symbol. Then there are 3 or 4 digits, and then finally a name. The name is the headings. The first digit is article number. Second digit is like 1. The second digit is paragraph number, and the third digit is subparagraph number. So by this nomenclature, we can understand that this is Article 6, paragraph number 1 and subparagraph number 0. It talks about scope. See, from the heading itself, we understood that in this paragraph, it would be given, the information would be given where it is to be used, and what are the main things related to this, and when it is to be used. So those information would be given in the scope. The next paragraph we see, it's a 620, again nomenclature, 6 article number, 2 paragraph number, and 0 subparagraph number. So, and the heading is general. What would be given in this? We can pre-assume that the application where this procedure is going to be used would be given in this. What kind of problem we can find out from using this standard, it would be given this, and probably the principle or other detail, theoretical detail would be given in general. So let's try to find out first the headings. After 620, we see another heading. It's T630. Again, third paragraph, and it is equipment. By having the equipment, we understood what kind of paragraph this is. This will deal with the equipment. Let's read it. The term penetrant material. So I'm just highlighting it. The penetrant material as used in this article is intended to include all penetrant, emulsifier, solvent or cleaning agent and developer etc. used in the examination process. So it says that during the examination, during the test, penetrant material means chemical like penetrant, emulsifier, solvent, developer etc. Whatever the chemicals are going to use, those will be considered penetrant material. For more details, it refers as SE 165. So after third paragraph, in the fourth paragraph, we could see it is given miscellaneous requirement. What are the other requirements? Like the first paragraph is control of contamination. See the nomenclature. Article number 4. Oh, sorry. 641, that means article number 6, paragraph number 4, and subparagraph number 1. So this is the part of fourth paragraph. It says about the how to control the contamination in the penetrant material. Next paragraph says, it gives a detail about surface preparation, how the surface is to be prepared. And then the next subparagraph says how to dry after preparation. So these are the subparagraph of article number 4. Article number 6, paragraph number 4. When it goes to next paragraph, which is fifth paragraph, it gives a glimpse about the technique. Let's stop here. It says there are 3 techniques which could be used. Number 1, water washable. Number 2, emulsifier. And number 3, solvent removal. So 3 techniques are defined, but once we read further, and it gives visible and fluorescent penetrant used in the combination of above 3 process. So that means water washable can be visible, water washable can have fluorescent penetrant in the same way, other 2 also. So overall, making a combination of 6 liquid penetrant technique. So in this paragraph, in this standard, there are 6 techniques which have been defined. We got the idea, and how to mark it, how to put it highlight, that also we are just getting an idea. See another subparagraph. It talks about standard temperature. Okay, you can read further. I'm just trying to go very fast. And it says, the standard technique of the temperature of the penetrant and surface of the part to be processed shall not be below 5 degrees Celsius and 52 degrees Celsius. That means this procedure, or this standard is defined only within the range of 5 degrees Celsius to 52 degrees Celsius. But at the same time it says, the next paragraph it says, if techniques are below 5 degrees Celsius and above 52 degrees Celsius, what is to be done? So it says that the examination process at the proposed lower or higher temperature range requires a qualification. So that means below 5 degrees Celsius temperature, qualification will be required. Above 52 degrees Celsius, qualification will be required. Moving ahead, next subparagraph of article number 6, para 5 is, it's about technique restriction. In the technique restriction, it says, fluorescent penetrant examination shall not follow the color contrast penetrant examination. It restricts. It says, fluorescent examination should not be conducted after the visible examination. And at the same time, it says, intermixing of penetrant material from the different families or different manufacturers is not permitted. It tells very clearly, if you have the brand, if you are taking the penetrant of brand A, developer should also be from brand A, and then cleaner should also be from brand A. It restricts. So by the heading itself, technique restriction, we can understand what kind of information would be available inside this. Moving ahead, next paragraph, it's a calibration. So in the calibration, we know what would be given. It would be given how to do the calibration, what to do calibration, what are the frequencies. Let's just read it. It says, light meter, both whether for visible or whether for fluorescent, it shall be calibrated once in a year. So now the frequency is given for both visible and fluorescent. Now whenever the questions will come, question can come something like this, or somebody can ask, what is the frequency of light meter? Okay, it's given. Whenever somebody is saying what is the frequency of the calibration of the light meter, calibration means paragraph number 6. We will refer this paragraph, read it, and we will give the reply. Next paragraph is mentioned, that means 7th paragraph, examination. By seeing itself, we can say how to conduct would be here. It would be, and we can see the penetrant application, how to apply the penetrant is there, what are the minimum dwell time is to be given. It is also mentioned here how to remove the excess penetration. There are techniques are given, water washable, post-emulsification. In the post-emulsification, we can see there are two lipophilic and hydrophilic which has been provided. The detail has been given. And then solvent removal. Next sub-paragraph is how to dry after excess penetration. What should be the minimum time? And then what is the developing? So any question relating to developing, like when to start applying the developer, we'll get the answer from this sub-paragraph. How to do the interpretation and what is to be done in the interpretation. So that's also given in next paragraph, which is interpretation. There are some sub-paragraph, how to conduct the post-cleaning, whether it should be conducted or not to be conducted, that is given in the post-cleaning. One of the last paragraph is evaluation. It will give how to evaluate. So let me read it for you. All the indications shall be evaluated in terms of the referencing code section. It says, this standard does not tell you what to accept, what not to accept. It would be the referencing code which is referring the ASME section 5, and it will inform which is to accept and what not to accept. It says discontinuity at the surface will indicate by bleeding out the penetrant. However, the localized surface irregularity due to machining marks or other surface condition may produce the fall indication. It gives that even though we get some indication, we need to ensure whether those are false indication which are coming from the machining mark or are they from the discontinuity. Finally, it gives one more idea. Broad areas of fluorescent or pigmentation which could mask indications of discontinuities are unacceptable, and such areas shall be cleaned and re-examination. So if we find some area where we think that whether pigmentation or some another part can mask the indication, then it should be re-examined. And finally, we see the last paragraph, which is T690, 9th paragraph of 6th article. It says how to make the documentation. It says in each sub-paragraph is recording of the indication, how to record the indication. The sub-paragraph of recording of indication sub-paragraph is non-rejectable indication and rejectable indication. It says non-rejectable indication shall be recorded. What is recorded? Non-rejectable indication shall be recorded, sorry, according to this. While for, but it mentions one more thing. Non-rejectable indications shall be recorded as specified by the referencing code section. So if referencing code section, that means like ASME section 1, ASME section 8 division 1, division 2, if they do not specify that non-rejectable indications should be recorded, then you need not to. Or they will say what is to be recorded which are not rejectable. And for rejectable, it makes mandatory rejectable indications shall be recorded. What type of indications? Whether round or linear, location, extent, diameter, these are to be recorded. It has been given the clear guideline. And the next paragraph of documentation is examination records. By the name itself, we can say it will be mentioned what are the records must be available after the examination. Now what we must have, it says the requirement of article 1, it says what kind of penetrant we are using, it says what type we are using, it says we should have the record of map or map of the indication. It says what is the material thickness, lighting, equipment. So it gives an idea. So what we understood by now, that there are 9 paragraphs in this article, and mandatory appendix 2, mandatory appendix 3, there are 2 mandatory appendix. We missed we did not talk about the tables. So there are 2 tables given. In fact, 3 tables are given. Table 6 to 1.1, and it gives idea of essential and non-essential variables. So essential variables are those variables where if you are changing any of the essential variable, you need to demonstrate the procedure again. And if you are changing the variable which they are defining non-essential variable, you have to revise the procedure, but you need not to demonstrate. For an example, it's a personal qualification requirement. So if I mention only level 2 personnel can perform the examination, while in previous revision it was only level 1 examination will perform the test, then this is just changed in the personal qualification. So we need not to requalify our procedure, just only revise the procedure. If we see the method of applying penetrant, there are many methods which are given, like dipping, like spraying. So if we have mentioned the spray in our procedure and that has been approved, and if we want to add dipping as another method of applying penetrant, so in that case, this is essential variable, and we have to demonstrate the procedural part again. So this is how we need to read. See, by having this, we will have this idea how to read and how to take an answer. I'll try to read 1 or 2 more. For example, excess penetrant removal. It says we should give the dwell time. Okay. After the specified dwell time has elapsed, any penetrant remaining on the surface shall be removed, taking care of minimize removal of penetrant from the discontinuity. It says we have to remove the penetrant once dwell time is completed. Okay, so we have seen table number 1. Next, second table is 6 to 1.3. It says minimum and maximum time limit. That's what dwell time. Or another time, it says penetrant dwell time is, minimum is also to be specified in the procedure and maximum is also to be specified in the procedure. That means if the dwell time is 5 minutes in the procedure, it will not work. It should say the dwell time of the penetrant is from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. One more dwell time table is given, that 672. It says the minimum time dwell time should not be less than this. So if I combine T672 for take an example of weld, it welds, it says the minimum dwell time should be 5 minutes. Now the question will come, then what to mention in the procedure? In the procedure, it says you have to mention minimum and maximum time. But minimum time for the weld cannot be less than 5 minutes. That is mentioned in different table. So the range would be, which would satisfy not only this table, but next table as well. This table as well. So minimum time for the weld would be 5 minutes. And maximum we have to define. In the procedure it would be there, the dwell time must be from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. We can just have a look for mandatory appendix 2, which says control of contamination for liquid penetrant examination. It says 2 things. For nickel based alloy, it's very clear, the sulfur content shall not exceed 0.1% by weight. So if you are asked the question that when you are examining the nickel based alloy, what should be the minimum content of sulfur? We know in mandatory appendix 2, nickel based alloy requirement is given, In this paragraph, they have mentioned the sulfur content shall not be 0.1. So based on the question, we need to look the particular paragraph. We need not to read all the procedure all the time for each question. We'll take one more example. For SS and duplex material or titanium material, it says when we are examining austenitic and duplex material, the chlorine or fluorine content must be less than 0.1% by weight. In the same way, another requirement is also given, but I'm skipping at the moment. In mandatory appendix 3, it's given what are the qualification technique for the examination for non-standard temperature. That means it will give you idea if you are going to use this procedure for below 5 degrees Celsius, then you have to meet all the requirement whichever is given. Until the question says that we are going with non-standard temperature, we need not to look mandatory appendix 3. So the whole purpose of this video was we need to look only those portions whichever is required. Like mandatory appendix 3 will be required when test is to be carried out below 5 degrees Celsius or above 52 degrees Celsius. Mandatory appendix 2 shall be used only when there is an additional requirement for nickel alloy, AS alloy, or water-based alloy or water-based requirement. We know the examination record is given, documentation is to be checked only in documentation. When the question with evaluation comes, we need not to read all the one, only we should go only evaluation paragraph and we need to try to find out the answer. In the same way, whenever the question is coming related to equipment, we should look only T630, not any other. So that was just one exercise. I did not try to read all, but try to give an idea how to read it so that we would be able to give the answers of the given questions based on the procedure and our understanding will be better. Thank you very much.